Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of our Corporate Practice 1 class by the Daniel School of Law. On today's episode, we'll be talking about our drafts, especially the application for consent for change of name of a company. Application for consent for change of name of a company. Right? And this is draft 3. We have 3 drafts so far for our Post-Incorporation class. The first one was the board resolution for change of name. The second one, special resolution by members in general meeting for change of name. And now we have the application for this said change of name. This application is to the CAC. Remember that during the course of our lectures, I explained to you, I gave you a detailed procedure as to how you can change the name of a company. I told you that there is compulsory and then there is voluntary change of name. I told you that for the voluntary, there are stages, starting with the big 4 and then the documents that we are supposed to attach, right? And then the post-registration procedure. All these things, I have explained them, right? So one of those documents that are highlighted to you that we are supposed to attach and send to the CAC, right? Attach the documents all together. I gave you a list of them. Put them all together and send them to the CAC. One of those documents is an application for consent. And in fact, we did not just say, oh, let us just apply to the CAC out of our own volition. We no get job, we just say make we apply. No, the Cama recommended such application under section 30, subsection 3. I explained the provision of section 30, especially 1 and 2, that talks about compulsory change of name, and 3, 4, and 5. That talks about voluntary change of name, right? Especially and more particularly, section 30, subsection 3, right? More particularly talks about voluntary change of name, right? So in this class now, we are going to talk about that application that section 30, subsection 3 said that we should have, sent to the CAC, because the CAC must give us consent for us to change our name, and we have to apply for such consent. This is the 3rd draft. We have a total number of 3 drafts for our Post-Incorporation Matters. Still our topic 1 for Corporate Practice 1. So now, let's go to the crux of our class for today. Now, I told you when I was teaching you our first draft, if you have not watched the first draft, please go and watch it, because for every draft, I cannot keep repeating. So go and watch the first draft, right? I told you that when we are talking about letters and special resolution, when Nigerian Law School tells us to draft letters and special resolution, it must be in the letterhead of the company. And I told you, how should the letterhead of a company be? The name of the company as given to you by the exam question. Because I put Yoyo Bitters here does not mean that everything you see, you'll be writing Yoyo Bitters. I've explained this to you. Whatever was given to you by the Nigerian Law School during corporate law exam, the name given to you is what you write in your exam. The address will most likely not be given, but sometimes it is sparingly given, right? So when it is given, you must put the same address that is in your question, put it down in exam. But if there is no address, put the address, a fictitious address that comes to your mind. If there is no phone number and email or website, like there usually isn't, then you put a fictitious one. Just for you to know that a letterhead must contain the name of the company, the address of the company, the phone number, email address, and website of the company. And I also told you that there must be an RC number known as the registration number of that company, which is on the same line, but on the right hand side. When you are writing, on the right hand side of the name, but on the same line of the name of that company. Although the RC number can, let us be real, be anywhere, but how we draft it at law school is to put it on the right hand side, right? That is not to say that you cannot go and ask your lecturers where would they want the RC number to be, but usually the right hand side of the same place where you have the name of the company, right? However, the name and address and everything should be in the center of your draft. Now, after that, you are supposed to have our ref, your ref. I told you, you are supposed to what? Have our ref, your ref. Our ref, your ref accompanies the header of every letter and also of every resolution because it is part of the letterhead. Do you understand that? Then after that, in a special resolution or an ordinary resolution, or when we are drafting any kind of resolution, including a board resolution, we do not write the date up, we write it down. And in fact, we have a customized song in our class for that. The date is down and not up. But because this is not a resolution, we will not be singing it, right? So the date is down in a resolution, not up. However, in a letter, the date is up and not down. So don't mix it up. This is one area where you might miss marks in exam because you are rushing or something. So just try to put it in your head. And it's usually also on the right hand side. Although you can put it on the left hand side or on the right hand side. But the standard at law school is you usually put it on the right hand side. That is not to say that you cannot go and ask your lecturers again, sir, please, where should I put the dates when I'm drafting letter? Should it be at the left-hand side, the same place I put the addressee's information, or should it be at the right-hand side, right? You can ask, but I feel like it's a distinction without a difference, but to be on the safe side. That is for your dates. Now, on the left-hand side, as you can see on our draft showing on your screen right now, you have the Registrar General, who shall always be the addressee of any correspondence. Correspondence means letter. The Registrar General shall always be the addressee of any correspondence where you are writing to the CAC. Now, correspondence can mean letter, it can mean memo, it can mean any kind of communique, right? Whatsoever. I'm just trying to let you know that the corporate term for letter, if you don't want to say letter, the corporate term is to say correspondence. They'll say, yes, this one's a big English. Do you understand? But correspondence is anything that also includes letter, but shows that there's a communication between two parties without having to say letter or call whatever it is by that specific name. Right? So it's a correspondence. So any correspondence, any official correspondence that you are having between you and the CAC should naturally go through the Registrar General. So the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission should be your addressee. In law school, once any letter is going to a CAC, the Registrar General. Always remember that. So in this case, we want the CAC's consent and we are addressing it to who? The Registrar General. CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission. Don't go and put CAC in the exam. There's nothing like CAC. Corporate Affairs Commission is Corporate Affairs Commission. The Cama does not see or recognize anything called the CAC. It's called what? Corporate Affairs Commission. Now we they abbreviate them. So if you put CAC there, you don't fail. Again, Maitama is where their head office is. Some people will go and cram the full location. It's not necessary. In fact, if you put Abuja there, just put Abuja because it can change at any time. Do you understand? What if the CAC move to Lagos or something? So we know it's at Abuja, put to Abuja. If you put only Abuja there, I don't think you'll be penalized. But again, go and ask your lecturers. But it should be Maitama, Abuja, simple. You are fine. Because it's exam, they just want to know that you know what ought to be there. When you are writing it in practice, of course, you cannot put Maitama. Do you understand? You go and research the real address because that letter has to go to that real address. But this exam, they want to know that you know that that place ought to be for address. So just say Maitama, Abuja, that's fine. Corporate Affairs Commission, Maitama, Abuja, Registrar General, your addressee, that's fine. Always make sure that you put comma every place. Can you see? And then after Abuja, you put full stop. That's proper way to draft a letter. Registrar General, comma, Corporate Affairs Commission, comma, Maitama, comma, Abuja, full stop. Do you see that? That's good. Then we go to the next thing. What's the next thing now? Salutation, dear sir. The dear sir comes before your subject. Dear sir comes before your subject. Although some people will say dear sir / ma. I mean, it's a distinction without a difference. You can still go and meet your law school lecturer. Sir, ma, should we put dear sir? Or we should put dear sir / ma? Do you understand? The reason why I'm always telling you to go and meet your law school lecturers, I think I've explained it severally in my previous draft videos, because there might be something that they are looking for, right? I am not the one marking your script. I am guiding you on the potential things that law school will look at when they are marking. Do you understand? I'm not the one marking. I'm not the one setting the curriculum or the marking guide. But these are the things, these are the areas that they usually look at. And I know this because I've gone through the system and I've passed the system excellently well. Do you understand that? So look at that salutation. They want to have a comma with it. So make sure that you know, dear sir is fine. But dear sir / ma, I mean, some people might say they want that, some will say it's fine. Now, let's go to the subject. What's our subject here? Application for consent to change the name of Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited to Yoyo Sweeteners Nigeria Limited, pursuant to Section 30, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Sure, you see how I wrote it? That's how you should write it. However, some other lecturers will say, to write application for consent to change name of the above reference company, some people will say it's all right. Some people will just say application for consent is all right. Some people will say application for consent pursuant to Section 30, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Some people will say it's all right. But me, if I were to choose the best two, this one is the overall best. This one that I'm giving to you here. Application for consent to change the name of Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited to Yoyo Sweeteners Nigeria Limited, pursuant to Section 30, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The second, which although I am not prescribing, but I am saying that it is still good enough, would be application for consent for change of name, right? Pursuant to, so that you don't have to say from change of name to from so to so pursuant to. So application for consent for change of name pursuant to can still suffice. But again, go and meet your lecturers. Do you understand that? So these are the points that you will go. By the time Mr. Dieko has showed you, okay, this, clarify this, clarify this, clarify this. When you go to meet your lecturers, don't say Mr. Dieko said. The reason why I say don't say Mr. Dieko said is because it looks like the authority is clashing. So please this is my draft. Please correct it. This, I did it 1 billion times when I was in law school. 1 billion, not million, billion. Almost every draft. Immediately after class, once break has finished, see, I have this draft, My corporate law lecturer was a Mrs. Motunrayo Igbe. So, from Port Harcourt campus. So, immediately after class, yes, I have this draft, Okay, don't put this one here. She'll cancel it. Put this one here. Then I'll go back, redraft it. You see that my redraft that I've redrafted, that's my prototype for exam. I have already gotten it ready for exam. So it is that prototype for exam that I'm showing you here. So the fact that when I was going to law school 2023, this was what my lecturer said, doesn't mean that now that you are going to law school 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, whatever year, right, that is that same prototype that will work now. But that doesn't mean that the substance in itself will change. It is still the same letter that you are drafting. Abi? So just to understand that these are the things to look out for. So the heading, be sure to ascertain how should the heading be. Should it be like this? This is the best so far I'm concerned, but still make sure that you confirm. So now, to the beginning, we have 3 parts, and I need you to know this. We have 3 parts when it comes to a letter, the body of a letter. There are 3 parts. The intro, the body itself, and the outro. The intro is more or less like an introduction, letting them know, okay, this is person who is writing this letter, and this is the reason I am writing this letter. Let that come into your head all the time. This is the person who is writing this letter. This is the reason I am writing this letter. If you are writing the letter for somebody, you will say, it is me that is writing the letter on behalf of so person who has given me the instructions to write this letter, and this is the reason I am writing this letter. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are writing it for yourself, this is the person that is writing it. You introduce yourself and you say the reason why you're writing the letter. If you are writing it for another person, you still introduce yourself. You now introduce the person you are writing it on behalf of, and then the reason why you are writing it. That is first paragraph, introduction. So in this case, every correspondence on behalf of the company ought to be written by the company's secretary. So here, I am directed by the board of directors of Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited. Now, you will see that the reason I keep mentioning Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited is because my law school lecturer then told me that they usually do not like the aforementioned company. Because I asked her, Ma, why do I keep calling Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited, Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited, when it is literally on the letterhead? Why can't I just say in the above reference company, in the aforementioned company, in the so? Do you understand? No. She said that it is better to repeat it like that for the sake of clarity. So you will see that I'll always repeat it almost all the time in my drafts. Now, I am directed by the board of directors of Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited to apply for the Corporate Affairs Commission's approval for the company's name to be changed to Yoyo Sweeteners Nigeria Limited. Do you see that? So now, because it is the company secretary that is writing on behalf of the company, the introduction is not necessary. You cannot say, I am Mr. So and so, the company secretary of the above named company or Yoyo Bitters. Because if you are a lawyer, for example, and your letterhead is already up, you are supposed to say that we are solicitors. We are solicitors to Mr. So and so, right? Your letterhead would have given you out already, right? So we are solicitors to Mr. So and so, in bracket, our client, on whose behalf and on whose instruction we write to you with respect to so and so. As a lawyer, that's how you start a letter. But this case now, because it's the secretary, you just say, oh, I am directed by the board of directors of Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited, right? So you are saying, oh, I am directed by the board of directors, right? I am writing on the instructions of the board of directors. You can also say that I am writing on the instructions of the board of directors to apply. However, I am writing on the instructions of the board of directors. I am directed by the board of directors. It's still the same thing. But again, what do we want? What our lecturers at law school, which language do they prefer? This is what my own lecturer told me. I am directed by the board of directors of Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Limited to apply for the Corporate Affairs Commission's approval for the company's name to be changed to Yoyo Sweeteners Nigeria Limited. That's what I was taught. So, but then you will see, even when you are going through law school drafts, by the law school lecturers themselves, you will see that all the drafts used to clash. This one will say his own law, that one will say another one, this one will say another one. Which one should we follow? The most important thing is that the substance exists in your draft. But you know that what we are gunning for is excellence. Excellence can only be gotten when we can get what our lecturers themselves want. Do you understand? We are gunning for excellence. But normally, to pass, hard because our substance is there. But we want to pass excellently. So now that we know, I am directed by the board of directors of Yoyo Bitters Nigeria Company to apply for the Corporate Affairs Commission approval for the company's name to be changed to Yoyo Sweeteners Nigeria Limited. You can see the way I put that Yoyo Sweeteners Nigeria Limited so that they will see the name. You see the way my draft is put it like that. So it has to be in capital letter and it has to be in quotes so that they will see the name of the company that we want to change it to. Now, also the reason why you are changing it should be there. The name is being changed so as to reflect the nature and the main object of the company. For some exam questions, the reason is usually stated. It could be that they want to raise money, right? Or they want to do something. I don't know what it is that the company wants to do, right? But the reason could be stated in the question. When the reason is stated in the question, you just put the reason that has been stated in the question, you put it here. When it's not stated, you just look for a reason, you put it here. So, intro, I am directed by the board to apply for commission's approval for the change of name, right? The reason is because, then later, you will now talk about the documents that you have attached, which is now the body. The body is your document, right? I have enclosed herewith a copy of the special resolution of the company duly passed on the 2nd of June 2022, sanctioning the proposed change of name. Now, there is a subtle exam area here, higher, that we sometimes overlook. A subtle exam area. Do you know that? You see these dates, right? I have highlighted it. When we say that our special resolution was passed, and you see that date up in our letter, 15th of June, when we say that the letter is dated, you see those two dates, my dear brothers and sisters, they must comply with a certain provision of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. And what provision is that? Please go and carry your Cama. Carry your Cama right now, right? Go to section 262 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Section 262. Please go there now. Now, go to subsection 4. It says this section applies to sub A, special resolution. This section applies to special resolution, full stop. So all special resolution shall come under this section. Let's put that on one hand. Now let's, on the second hand, go to sub 1. Sub 1 says, subject to section 51, subsection 7B of this act. That one does not concern us because it's on alteration of object clause. We will talk about that in our next class. Our next class is where we'll give a detailed procedure for that. Now, a copy of every resolution or agreement to which this section applies. Now, go to sub 4 again. Sub 4A, special resolution. Let's now go back up again. So this section applies to special resolution. Shall within 15 days after passing or making of the resolution be forwarded to the commission. Okay, within 15 days. Okay. Now, let's go to our notes. This part says that the special resolution was passed when? 2nd of June. Now, let's go up again. Let's go up. What day are you sending it to the CAC? 15th of June. Is it within 15 days? Do you know that if you are in exam and you don't take note of these key details, something was passed on the 15th of June, you are sending it to the CAC, a special resolution that applies when we are talking about section 262 of Cama. You are now sending it to the CAC in August. My dear brothers and sisters, you don't fail. You don't fail. You see? That's a subtle area that I want to point out to you. That when you are talking about change of name, because one of the documents to be sent to the CAC is a special resolution, you have to be careful. You have to make sure that the date on your letter upon which you want to send it to the CAC, it doesn't exceed 15 days after the passing of the said resolution, whose date must also be in the body of your letter as part of your attachment. Do you understand that? This thing is not hard. You just need someone to explain it to you and someone to show you what are those areas, as subtle as they are. What are those areas that Jesus Christ, do you understand? That you wouldn't have noticed, I'm very sure. If you didn't know section 262, you would not have understood what is going on here. Every special resolution shall be sent to the commission within 15 days. Section 262. So, on the basis of that, we must make sure that our date on our letter tallies with the dates for our special resolution when it was passed, and make sure that the both of them do not exceed 15 days apart from each other. Do you understand? So, this one now is 13 days, I believe. This 13 days apart. So we are still within 15 days. Although I believe that you are still going to deduct, I think, Saturday and Sunday or something like that. But please, ladies and gentlemen, don't do minus and plus inside exam mode. So far, they say something happened on the 2nd. Make sure it does not pass 17th. In short, don't even put 17th. Put anything between 2nd and 16th. Right? If you put 5th, if anybody die, do you understand? If you put 6th, anybody die, nobody cares if it's a Sunday. In the exam, they don't want to know, do we have calendar there? How do we know what day it was? But do you get my point? Just make sure that whatever day it is, calculate it within 15 days. That's what I want to point out to you. That's number one. The company's memorandum of association and articles of association duly altered, the company's certificate of incorporation, evidence of up-to-date annual returns, payment of prescribed fees, blah, blah, blah. So you know those documents that you are supposed to attach to your letter. Abi, don't you know them? You know them, Abi? Good. Attach them to your letter. Just put all of them inside it. I've already taught it in our class. So I'm just showing you how the prototype ought to be, right? Everything has been listed in our class. This is how you are supposed to put it. Then you have a conclusion. We anticipate a positive response, or we hope our request is approved. Now, I put this there so that you will know that you can use, don't go and write, we anticipate a positive response, or we hope our request is approved. They are the same thing, no? Don't say that's what you saw. They are the same thing, right? So anyone, you can go and ask your lecturers. All those things are minute something. But you can still go and ask them, how is it best for us to conclude? The first one, is it better? Or is the second one, is it better? Do you understand? And also ask your lecturers if any other thing ought to be included in the body. I doubt they will say any other thing, but, just to be on the safe side. Do you understand that? Then yours faithfully, make sure that you sign every correspondence, every resolution. Make sure that you sign. There is no signature here, but make sure that you sign. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you sign. And then lastly, the enclosed documents. Right? Lastly is the enclosed documents. Yeah, and I'm very sure that for the sake of clarity, the enclosed document should include Form CAC 3, notice of change of name of the company, availability search and reservation of name. Those are documents that you are to front load to the CAC. Do you understand? The company's memorandum and articles, the special resolution, original certificate, and all that. So that's just for the sake of clarity. Make sure that those documents are sent to the CAC. Application letter from CAC 3, availability search, special resolution, up-to-date annual returns, payment of filing fees, surrender of the certificate of incorporation. All those things should be attached to your letter, to which you are going to be sending to the CAC, right? Make sure it is signed. Make sure you enclose your document. Make sure you conclude. Make sure that your body has all the requisite documents that are necessary to be sent to the CAC, and make sure that those documents are also enclosed under the way we have enclosed documents here. Make sure that you have your intro where you say that you are directed by the board, or based on the instructions of the board of directors, you write to seek the approval. Make sure you confirm, and then also tell us the reason why you want the change of name. Make sure that you have your subject, right? Always make sure that the section is in your subject. Always make sure that it is as comprehensive as possible. Your address, your date, your letterhead, everything should be 100%. And that is where we end our lecture for today. It has been a very wonderful class. I'm very sure that you've learned a lot. Now, our next class now, we are going to go further, where we talk about alteration of business or object clause, part 1. Alteration of business or object clause. I will see you in our next class. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a very wonderful day.